Welcome to another episode of the Side Hustle Experiment podcast. Today we have on Saykho, seven-figure Amazon seller. I met him a few months back. We've been following each other on Twitter for years, but I wanted to have him on here because, one, he has a lot of back-to-school gems, but he has a bunch of cool Amazon stories as well. So how's it going today, bro?
Doing good, man. How y'all doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. So tell us a little bit how you got started. I think me and you have like exact same stories how we got started, but I love hearing the story over and over. So tell us about that.
I think I got the same start as a lot of people, right? You feel me? This was 2020 COVID time, right? Before then, I was doing a bunch of side hustles. I'm thinking January 2020, I was in Goodwill, just scanning used stuff with eBay's app and making absolutely no money, but doing a whole ton of work. So it was terrible. Then I tried like anime themed pages and that wasn't going nowhere because nobody cared. You feel me? And I just randomly found some random guys on Money Twitter and they were talking. This was back in the caveman days. So they was just talking. It sounded so oily. Like I'm talking snake oil stuff. That's what it sounded like. They were just
growing your Amazon business could be super, super lonely. Your friends, your family, no one understands what you're doing. They think you're weird. That's why I created the Advanced Arbitrage Tactics School community, because I felt the same way. I wanted to build a community of like-minded people who are trying to crush it and grow their Amazon business. We do coaching calls in there. You have exclusive access to me to ask any questions. I pretty much answer any question in there. If you want to grow your Amazon business and want some like-minded people to hang out with, I'd love to see you inside. Just click the link below. It is only $15. I want to keep it super affordable for everyone. So hope to see you in there.
If you want my tips and secrets for success, you got to do X, Y, and Z. And it sounded like the most bullshit ever, but it worked. You feel me? It got me into them groups, those early day groups. I'm talking products for profits. Back in his OG days, product for profits. That was another one that was like products for profits competitor. And I can't remember their name for the life of me. And they were just insane. So those guys, I'm talking, they used to just like feed me. Like, you know how like a mother feeds its child. I'm talking straight teeth to mouth. That's what it was. And they were just giving us leads. And I didn't know how to do anything. I would just head to stores, buy stuff, pack it, sell on eBay. And things were so easy. Like things ain't that easy no more. Like you try to play that same strategy, you're going to fail. But back then it was golden. And that's how I got my start. From there, a lot of those guys from back then don't even sell anymore. But like just consistently learning, actually learning how to find your own leads is the key. Actually learning how to build a real business that's sustainable and find new opportunities that you just continuously add to the catalog. I want to say that's kind of like what's helped me stay here, just stay active.
Yeah, you have a lot of followers on Twitter, 31K. So did you start with a lot, or did you just like, how'd that build up like that? Because I didn't even know how many you had that was that much until today.
Man, bro, all 30K of those are from like 2020 and 2021 and like 2022, bro. It's funny because I've been posting for as long as I've been doing the side hustles. Like as soon as I started selling on Amazon or really doing eBay, I started an account. So I have like a screenshot. It's like, 13,000 in eBay sales. Follow my journey. This is like 2020. So I've been on for a while and I've been posting for just a long time. Yeah.
Cool. You have any that like took off? Is that how you got so many, or was it just consistent?
Bro, I used to do crazy platitudes, like crazy amounts of platitudes. I'm talking each tweet used to get like 200 likes. Plus, I was goated at engagement groups. You feel me? Like, you know, where it's like you send your tweet and they'll engage and you engage with their stuff. I had like not software. This was just used to be called Integramax, called Make now. Make Zapier and all that stuff. And I used to run automations and I used to just send my stuff automatically, engage with everyone else's stuff automatically. And I was just pumping engagement for like a full 2 years until Elon came and started hating on me. But yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot different nowadays. I've noticed like it's just way harder to get engagement than it used to be. I see you posting videos and stuff, but I'm like, dude, it's crazy how much it's fell off. It's like nowadays it's all just kind of clickbaity type stuff. Like that's the only thing that moves to the top. Like if you try to give like just a normal thing, it's just like not going to work on Twitter.
I mean, that was my mindset for a while, but I joined a mentorship program and they said stop being a pussy. So I was like, yes, sir. And It's like you just have to keep posting because I just like content works, something works. I just haven't figured out what it is exactly because I know some tweets do well, other ones don't. But the problem is the stuff that used to do like 200 likes a year ago, 2 years ago, don't do shit anymore. That's the problem. So yeah, it's just same as Amazon. If you don't figure it out, you just everybody gonna move on type beat.
I've noticed that a lot on YouTube too, like because I have a YouTube channel and like some of the content I used to post would just crush. Like it is
Exactly.
automatic 1,000 views, likes, all that kind of stuff. Now you post the same thing, you're lucky to get, I don't know, like 100, 200. If you're lucky, it's just so much different.
Yeah, it's really rough.
Yeah, so it's back to school time. That's kind of like what you're famous for a little bit, the back to school stuff. So talk a little bit.
That's nice.
It's a little late if people want to do it, but I mean, I can still do their RA, still do the FBM type stuff, right?
Not gonna lie, back to school is just, I'm not gonna say I'm good at it, but bro, like last year, I just woke up like July 27th, went and spent like $100K, and that was all the sourcing I did for like all of back to school. And it just carried me from August to September. So, I mean, the goodies are the good as always. You know, you have your backpacks. If you listen to the space, they're saying a lot of different things. It's the same thing. Clothing, school supplies, books, everything that you think is good is really, really good. It's just, I wouldn't even say you're too late. I want to say you're early because Walmart, if you walk into them stores, they're still stuck on July 4th. I forgot it was July 4th until I walked into the store and they reminded me. So if you're getting started with back to school, I would say you have a shit ton of time because no one's even thinking about it yet. So if you're looking to source, the opportunities are available. If you're doing OA, I mean, if you're thinking Walmart, Target, they'll have that stuff to you next day, 2 days. They're just as fast. They're not just as fast, but they're damn fast. And they'll get things to you. So there's a lot of opportunity there. I mean, it's just when it comes to the seasonal stuff, like the August, your Halloween in October, there's just, it's so much easier than everything else because it's FBM, it's RA, it's OA. You touch everything yourself. And with that, you ain't really got to worry about Amazon losing your stuff. You ain't really got to worry about reconciliation. You don't have to worry about Amazon just destroying you with their terrible FBA customer return laws. It's just a different set of rules when you're doing FBM. It's a different set of rules when you don't have a prep center, a VA, and all these multiple third parties handling your inventory. So the game is strictly on easy mode for the next 6 months. And I just try to express that as much as possible without calling it easy, like in my content. Yeah.
So do you do mostly FBM then?
When it comes to seasonals, yeah, I try to do as much FBM as possible. I mean, you can do FBA, but I mean, the goal with seasonal anyway is to understock and not overstock because it's just not fun unless that's your game, right? If it's not your game, you're not in for a good time. But yeah, I just like that speed. It's like having my inventory in hand and being able to attack the market instantly. Now, FBA is great for it, but just much more planning needs to be had.
Yeah, the reconciliation, like you said, is rough, especially when you're doing some of that seasonal stuff. I know that you can get wrecked with returns when it's like just way less returns and it's way easier to deal with them FBM. So,
True.
Yeah, it makes sense. Well, do you have any good back to school stories? Any big ones that you could share? I mean, obviously, I don't know if like you could share a lot of it, but what's the anything like that?
Well, the biggest one is, don't be stupid. Last year, I decided to not sell my best stuff for a whole week because I'm like, you know what? I'm going to wait for everyone else to sell out. I'm so smart. And it didn't happen. So now I'm overstocked because I've decided to skip the best selling weekend. Because when it comes to back to school, this is most things. Like if you're tracking like the consumer demand of things, that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday are going to be your best selling days. Them boys are at home. They have a shit ton of time and they got their phone in their hand. It's in their mind. They see the commercials on TV. They know little Jimmy John needs a backpack. You feel me? That's when they're going to buy it. So if you skip those days, you're really kind of destroying 80% of your results. Like the majority of your results are going to come from those days. I'm talking 300 units a day type movement. Wow. Like if you're really, yeah, for sure. If you're locked in on the right ASINs, that's the type of movement you can experience. So and then it's so explosive in that direction. It's explosive backwards as well. So if you miss those peak seasons, those out of season days are just not going to show you any type of love. So if you're stocking up, play the stock up. Don't try to be Mr. Genius over here and be looking stupid by the end of it. So yeah.
So a lot of people will like look at that and say, "Oh, like I've never come across an item that sells 300 in a day or even 300 in a week," right? For most
Mm,
beginners or something like that, or even some seasoned people, how do they go about finding something that moves really, really fast? You don't have to say the item, but maybe how did
yeah.
you come across that, or even think to look at an item like that?
You come across it the same way you're coming across everything else. I like to think sourcing is like you're in a room. You know how like you play games, you have unlockable characters. You feel me? We're all
Mhm.
playing the same game. It's just that I have characters that I have unlocked that you may not have unlocked. You feel me? So we're all looking at the same opportunities. It's just that I'm tapped into this opportunity with the ability to sell 300 units. You're tapped into the opportunity with the ability to sell 10. You feel me? So we're selling the same exact stuff. We might have different buy costs here and there. We might have different levels of inventory, but it's very much likely the same exact items. We're just looking at it in different ways. So we have a different perspective on it. You feel me? So the ace that I'm talking about, I'm sure other people sold it. They just weren't doing anywhere near those numbers. And SaaS isn't going to tell you that. That's theoretical stuff. That means almost nothing. It's useful. You feel me? It gives you enough information to make a buying decision without you having to put any real numbers up in terms of investment. But you don't know what you can do until you put that money up into the market. You feel me? So it's the fact that I was able to drop 100,000 on some inventory that I'm able to experience those type of sales because I have capital, the inventory for it. So I wouldn't say you have to do anything different. It's more about just the fundamentals behind the same exact ASINs we're looking at because it's all OA, all RA.
Yeah. It's funny you say that about the SaaS and that kind of thing. I always tell people
Yeah,
like those numbers are never going to be exact. Like, and I hear
yeah,
people
yeah.
come to me and say like, well, this doesn't sell 100 times a month. Should I buy it? And I'm like, I've sold like 100 of those in a week. Like I know
Yeah.
it sells a lot. Like it's really, you need to look at the keep. I try to look at the offer count more than anything rather than
That's
like
facts.
that. If you can look at the offer count, you can kind of like make a guess about it, not try to look at these damn softwares that are like just spitting out random numbers. And yeah, a lot of times what I notice too about people is they'll sell maybe 50 units in a week or whatever, and then they'll try to buy after. And it's like, dude, you've already missed the mark. Like if you don't hit,
Yeah,
like you're saying, like those things, you do not want to be the guy with all the inventory at the end of the day because those prices just destroy and the demand goes down. It's like brutal at the end of it. So you really want to be like quick in and out. I made the same mistake last year trying to be smart and hold till the end. I'm like, man, I just
yeah.
lost all the profit I could have made there.
It's
We did
funny.
that with
It's
that
funny.
thing that we both bought too. We bought way too late, and then I think we ended up selling for like what we paid for it. It was
Yeah.
that
Mhm.
bad.
It
Bought
can be rough.
So
Most
bad.
definitely. It can be rough. But
Yep.
yeah.
So what about, let's go back to COVID a little bit. You have any good COVID stories? I know you were big on the weights, right? That was one thing that you were
Man,
really big on. That
weights
showed you
were
the velocity big time. That's kind of like
yeah,
open to the future.
weights were crazy. Funny stories from the sporting even if I did, I probably don't remember anything. Man, besides just bullying the carriers by dropping off 1,000 pounds of orders every single day. Um the funniest thing is probably like the Instagram comments, like saying it didn't happen. Like that's the funniest thing. Like, no, man, that never happened. No one is buying weights for that amount of money. And it's like they're missing so much information that you can't really talk to them because it's like you're too many levels ignorant for us to have a real conversation. But I would say that's probably the funniest thing. But anything from back then,
Like the
I was
RH.
too poor.
Wait,
Yeah,
wait.
that's true.
Yeah, dude,
I was
I
too.
remember I went to Walmart one time. Me and my friend, we loaded up his car. It was like a Honda or something. And we drove back like 30 minutes and it was almost scraping because we had like a
Damn.
1,000 pounds of weight. He's like, I don't think we're going to make it up this hill. And I was like, bro, we got like $3,000 profit in this car and we will make
Man,
it
we
up.
gotta make it. We gotta make it. Now I feel it. I mean, I was too poor back then. Like I didn't have like I still suck when it comes to credit card. My business cards don't love me. Amex don't show me no love. We're gonna work on it though. But yeah, back then I just didn't have any capital. Like my credit cards, I remember somebody literally saying, "You don't like money," because I couldn't afford to buy like the Bowflex 552s.
Oh, yeah.
They were like, "Bro, you don't like money." I'm like, "Brother, I can't." So that was kind of funny. Like he was legit pissed.
Man, those were 300 into like $1,000 all day.
Those
Local,
were
too. You can
ridiculously
make money like
profitable.
$700 local. It was crazy. I
Yeah,
probably sold
they
50 of those things.
those were nasty. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah.
Yeah, those are good times, man. I wish
I miss
I don't
them.
wish something like that would happen, but man, it's like I wish I had the foresight I do now about it then.
Yeah.
It's like if you had the capital, like if you even had the ability to get credit back then, because I was scared to even get credit. I was like, I don't want to open up too many
Facts.
cards. Like if I
Yeah.
know what I know now, I'd be making a mill every month or two on there. It's
That's
crazy.
facts.
There were
That's
guys
facts.
with that back then. I remember guys with warehouses like full of Bowflexes, full of kayaks and that kind of stuff. They were just
They
selling
make
like
money.
2 mil a month in 2020 when everybody else was like cool with 100K or whatever on a good month, you know.
I think that only comes with like experience though too. Like now, all of us, if like COVID happened again, we'd be like, this is COVID like 2.0. But back then, like no one really knew like what was going on or whatever, or what was what. So I do think that'd be interesting. Not that I'm saying I want that to happen again, but if something like that happened again, we're like, this is it. Like this is our big time to like go all in. And it's hard to find opportunities like that now.
I like how everyone just has that caveat. Not that I want COVID to happen again. I remember when Mr. Biden said the lockdowns are happening again and all the reseller groups were just excited, throwing parties. But on surface, no, bro, we don't want COVID to happen again.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
we don't want it to happen again.
Yeah, that's the generational wealth opportunity. And I feel like it propelled like probably me and you to be where we're at now. Like if that would have never happened, I wouldn't be here right now. I'd probably be working in some marketing company for like 40K a year. But that did happen and now I'm here. So
that's true. I'd be flipping burgers. I'd be flipping burgers right now. I'm not gonna lie.
That's a good segue. I know you made a big tweet about flipping burgers, and I think that's the most hate I've ever seen on a tweet in my life.
Brother,
I think I sent it to Drew. I was like, "Did you see this?" And he's like, "I just read that."
I feel like it was unwarranted, a decent amount. You feel me? Because
so give the readers some context. So what you said and then what happened. So
basically, man, I could pull up the tweet. I remember. Let me pull it up. But basically, I said something along the lines of da 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 da. I'll find the actual tweet so I can give y'all some real context because I still pull from it. It's one of my best tweets. But what the argument was? Hold up. Let me see if I can actually find it because I know it ain't too far off. Right. Nope.
Where were you flipping burgers?
Here it is. You said where I was at? Whataburger.
Okay.
Yeah, Whataburger in Texas. So this is a tweet. It says Whataburger paid me $32K annually. Amazon paid me $970K in the past 12 months. Amazon payouts is what I was thinking, because of course it's not profit. That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, of course it's not profit. Working 60 hours weekly for someone else earned me $600. Working 60 hours weekly for myself earned a 7-figure business. We still have expenses. So people's argument was sales doesn't equal profit or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I never really addressed it because I'm like, well, of course sales doesn't equal profit. What are we talking about here? But they were coming at me like that was the angle I was going at. So I feel like it was off. It was really weird. And I don't think I really read into it enough because I didn't understand that was the argument, because I didn't understand that was an issue. So yeah, but that was kind of funny. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, what I found funny is like, dude, everyone does that, flexes their revenue like all the time. And also other businesses do that too. It's just like that. That's like how people talk on Twitter. Like if you would have said, I made like exact amount, whatever your margin on it, it's just not as big of a tweet either. Like
it's not as poetic.
Yeah. The point is the same. Like either way, it's like I made a bunch of money from Amazon. Yeah. I just feel like that's just the nature of the game. You just like got to say stuff and people are just freaking out about it. It's like, dude, it's like not that big of a deal at all. Exactly. I didn't think it was.
But yeah, they tore it to pieces. Like they took it in so many different contexts, and it was nice. It was really, really nice for impressions. I won't lie. Like it was really nice. That whole period for me, huge increase in just numbers. I mean, both inside and like outside. So I'm not hating on it hard, but yeah, it is an interesting time period.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned earlier a little bit about how it's harder nowadays than back then, obviously. What do you think about the future of Amazon? How do you think it's going to go in the next few years? And like, do you see it going better, worse, whatever?
When I think about the future, I like to think of the future as something no one really has a decent understanding of. right? So it's like if you can try to predict the future, that's probably the exact situation that's not going to happen. It's probably going to be something completely different. So I probably spend zero amount of time estimating the future. But what I do consider in terms of, the Amazon opportunity macro is what are we looking at right now? You feel me? What I do know is Amazon makes a shit ton of money off of third-party sellers. Amazon can control as much money as they want to make from third-party sellers. So they have that switch where they can just increase the prices if they want to. 60% of the market belongs to third-party sellers. So I don't think OA is going to go anywhere time soon. Even with all the Section 3 increases, even with all the Amazon policy changes, this isn't anything new we haven't seen from them guys. You feel me? They do this every other weekend. They're just having a regular party. So I think it stays the same. Like in all the groups I'm in, right, the people who are adapting have adapted already. They're having a great time. They understand what works. They know what Amazon is looking for now. Because in November, like 2023, we had some big Section 3s, which kind of tilted the landscape in the account health section. You feel me? But I feel like most people who want to play the game have already figured out exactly what Amazon is looking for, or just adapted in a direction where they want to have to deal with it. So in terms of where Amazon is going long term, I think OA is going to be alive. But I do think in 2025, Q1, Q2, OA is going to die again. You feel me? And in 2026, Q2, Q1 is going to die again. And 2027. So in every single year, you feel me? It always dies because people don't know how to make money consistently. So that trend never is going to go away to where the doubt in the market is going to be different. It's happened every single year, like every single year. So I would expect that, like people to be people. But in the next few months, everyone's going to be in pure euphoria now that they're making these seasonal monies. So yeah, I think the game remains the same as long as Amazon is a marketplace. There's money to be made. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What you got, John?
Yeah, I agree with your kind of take on that because I remember my first Q1, Q2. I started in December, so I was doing books, and then I started to do OA. My first OA was like 2 years ago. I think I started right around October, so I hit like everything great. And then January rolled around, that was good, and then February I was like, oh man, like this is hard. Like I don't know what I'm gonna do. And it just turns out like that's just kind of how it is. And my dad used to run like restaurants and other stuff like that. We always had seasonability, and like we made all our money during Christmas. It was just kind of normal, like to kind of have like those kind of down months. And like, yeah, you try to do marketing, promotion, all that kind of stuff. It just never really works. So I feel like I've definitely seen that before. And just kind of just take that to be it and just know what I'm capable of to make in Q4. It's like, whatever, I'm going to make all this money in Q4. Like, I don't really care about February and March, and just kind of be smart with the profits and, make sure I'm taking out. What do you see in the space? Like, what do you think are some of the biggest myths about Amazon? Like, if you just looked at social media compared to real life, what would you say are some big myths?
There's a lot. Something that's pretty big is like maybe the idea that you need a network to be successful. Like you need a network or you need to be doing all these different things. I'm like, having a network is fun. You feel me? It'll make things fun. You'll have a great time, but you don't really need it to be successful. I think you can just solo and just raw dog all this stuff and you'll do well. Like you'll do extremely well. But besides that, man, nothing comes to the top of mind when it comes to myths. You feel me? Like the entire idea of the network, I think it's something that is starting to grow on me more just because it's like, you know what? I think I want to have fun. I think I want to, share leads and, figure out what these guys are going on. But besides that, bro, you can get to your 6-figure months. You can get to your teams of VAs and your systems and all these different things and not know that there's another living, breathing Amazon seller right next to you. Right. So it's not a necessity, I'd say.
Yeah, I'm happy you say that. I always say that. I basically went solo for the whole time I've been doing this, like up until last year, just because, like, I don't know, man. You never need that. Like, this isn't like a network style thing. Like, it helps to have somebody texting you about stuff, but if you know how to source products, like, you don't have to do that. What I think is that's just a really good marketing message. Like, if I tell you that network is how you get successful and I have a network, shit, that looks pretty good for me. So that's what I think. All that network stuff comes as like a marketing message, really. But it's a good one because it literally is like one thing that people are like, well, I don't have enough people to talk to. Or people tell me that stuff. Like, how can I find a network? I'm like, dude, just get on your computer.
Just source, brother. Source.
Yeah, it's not going to change the fact that you can't source. If 3 people are there telling you can't, it doesn't matter.
That's true.
Yeah.
If all 5 of you can't source, you're not making any money.
Exactly.
Just a collection of guys who can't source.
Do you have VAs? How's your team, your structure set up for your business?
Man, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like my VAs spoil me so much. I don't even want to talk about it because I don't want to create no type of like bad luck in the universe when it comes to the VAs. It's just, I don't know. I love the VA game so much. Like I love the VA game. I'm talking one of my VAs is like I'm looking at her sheet and it has like 30 leads in it from like these July 4th. I'm talking from like the past day. Like, let me actually look. Like, what's today?
Oh.
Yeah, 50 leads from the 2nd. And she hasn't started working today. I think she did like a few hours ago. No, like an hour ago. Because it's like, what time is it in the Philippines? It's 4:30 and she wakes up super early. Bro, 50 leads from the 2nd. And this is like all stuff hitting my targets at like average ROI. Like, I have her sheet open here. Average ROI is a 50% ROI. Average profit is a $55 profit. I'm just talking, bro. Like, VAs, when they're good, they're damn good, man. Because you got to think about it. These are competent players with college degrees. They're smarter than us, man. They just only speak English, and they speak better English than me. I don't speak good. Look at me stuttering. I don't speak good English. From West Africa. They speak way better English than me. So, and you have these guys sourcing 8 hours a day. If your VAs can't source, you can't source. But I think the real kicker is that they're damn competent. I mean that like in the most realistic sense, that if you can explain it to them, they can do it. And if your VA can't do it, it's not a competence thing. You hired the wrong person. You feel me? Like, that person, even if they were born in the US, would have been trash because there's just bad players out there. Your hiring process has to filter them out. So I have like 3 VAs right now, 2 admins. Well, not really 2 admins. Because all my VAs can source, right? Admin is like a part-time thing. You can't really, you can have a full-time admin, but that you probably have you got too many problems. That's too many fires to put out if you're working 40 hours a week. You feel me? Admin is like a 20-hour a week thing. So when they're not doing admin work, they're sourcing. And man, it helps because it's like you can figure things out. You can write the recipe and they can cook it 1,000 times. And I think that's like she's sourcing back there. Let me turn that screen the other way so y'all don't see what I'm like. She's sourcing on my little laptop right there. Yeah.
Wait, you monitor where she's sourcing?
Nah, that's a remote laptop for them to purchase on, so it doesn't get canceled as much.
Oh, so you got like an elaborate setup there. That's big too.
I would think
a lot of people don't have that. Yeah. That's
something
nice.
Decent.
So where do you hire from? Online jobs, or did you get somewhere else?
A lot of places. I used to hire. I don't think I've ever hired from online jobs, actually.
Interesting.
I do hire. Like, I'll post applications there, but I don't think I've actually like hired anyone from online jobs. But Facebook groups, there's a bunch of free Facebook groups. Once you have good VAs, your good VAs know a million other VAs. So I just give my admin like the application. I don't know what he does with it. I just wake up in the morning and I see like 100 people have applied. So then I just go from there.
Wow. How do you have it set up? Like, how do you like train them and stuff and make sure that they're not, stealing your leads and give it to somebody else or whatever?
So the thievery part comes in the hiring process. You feel me? You want to make sure you're not hiring a thief. So that really comes down to the questions. I have like a shit ton of questions. I want to say my hiring process is just really hard. Like, I like to make my hiring process a lot harder than the actual job itself. Sourcing is pretty easy. But yeah, I just asked them a lot of different questions in terms of where they come from and who they are, right? And I'm really looking for that character piece, that character factor. I could teach anyone a source. I just want to make sure you're not going to steal from me. You feel me? So when it comes to those questions, there's specific filters. And like from students that have experienced like my hiring filters, is so specific that you're probably above the bar by like a margin of 20 and you're still not going to cut it, right? Because that's how like deep it goes. Like I'm like, do you have a ton of applicants? Your goal is to really figure out who the best person is. And that best person isn't really a talent thing, it's a character thing. Because you can always, if you have an A player, you can teach them to be good. You can teach them how to source. You can teach them how to do admin. You just want to make sure it's someone that's not, gonna throw you off a ditch or stab you in the back in that nature. So really, a good example of this is I had an applicant and we were doing final interviews. These guys made it through all the trials and tribulations. This is final interviews. In my hiring process, there's like 5 different filters that they have to go through. And the last and final filter is that final interview. So we were basically talking and I'm digging deep into all the questions they've basically answered. And what she said, and as soon as she said this, I'm like, yeah, this is the one. And what it was, she was hired by an UK Amazon seller. And this particular, the seller didn't believe in Keepa, right? She didn't think you needed Keepa. She just sourced without Keepa, And she expected her VA to do so as well. Now, keep in mind, most Amazon sellers don't provide any type of training, coaching to their VAs. They just hire a random Filipino and call it a day and hope for the best because they think you can just hire because, you're big bad CEO. All I have to do is introduce employees and I win. So the cool thing about that is you get a lot of VAs in these absolutely terrible situations. And it's not cool. It's terrible. But it makes it super easy to find out who the gems are because of how they act in those situations. So I like to focus my application on how those people.
If you're still listening to the podcast at this point, you are into it and a fan, and we really appreciate that. If you could do us a solid and subscribe, and do all that stuff, it really helps the podcast grow. And secondly, if you could tag us on Instagram, just take a picture of what part you are at the podcast. If you like it, tell us what you think about it. Tag me at Side Hustle Experiment, and I will definitely share it. Now let's get back to the podcast.
Acted in those shitty situations where they weren't given any type of, sustenance. So basically what she did, she wasn't provided Keepa. She bought it out of her own pocket, took it out of her own check, and this is really expensive. And she made sure to review every single lead she provided because she wanted to make sure that the lead she was giving to her client was good leads because, of course, she wanted to keep her job. Most people don't come to that conclusion. Most people will not figure that out and they'll just suck, right? So that's key for an A player. Immediately brought her on. She's been with me for like 8 months. So I don't hire a ton because I just don't really need to. I don't fire a ton because I don't really need to. But yeah, I think that answers your question because I kind of turned that into a story.
Yeah, that was actually a good bit of hiring. I think that's very teachable for many people. There's some stuff in there too. I'm like, if I ever hire another VA, I definitely need to get more thorough with my hiring process because I usually just like pick 7, throw them, give them one task. Whoever completes it first and the best is usually who I hire. But that's probably not the best way to do it.
I mean, because like competence is cool, bro. Like, okay, they're good, but that doesn't mean they're actually good people. Right. And it's like, man, when you have good people, it's a different vibe. And that's why I say like I feel spoiled and just blessed, alhamdulillah, thank God. But it's just like when you're surrounded by, because she's throwing up like 50 leads a day. And the people I hired, because she's been with me like 2.5 years. The people I hired after her look at her and they're just like, fuck, I suck. And I'm like, bro, you're goated. She's just different. She's just on a different stratosphere. But you're actually really, really good. So just hearing them talk and like how they approach it, it ain't no hater vibes. It's not no, oh, I'll give up. It's like, man, I can't wait to be better. And it's like when you're surrounded by that energy in terms of your employees, right? It is a different vibe. But you also ask about my training. How do I train? There's a 90-day curriculum. Let me pull it up.
And
basically,
also,
there's a training.
How much sourcing do you do yourself these days? Or is it all VA?
What do I do myself?
Yeah.
Man, my calendar is damn stacked. But yeah, I'm trying my best to figure out 12-hour days. Like I was struggling with sleep a while ago and you helped me with that. It was vitamin D. I just needed to get more sun. So I just came from a walk like an hour, 2 hours ago. But what I do nowadays is a lot of content because I also suck at content. Got to figure that out. But besides content, in terms of the Amazon business, I check their leads daily, but I'm really figuring out like my main thing is not just capital, but smart capital, right? Because what I really struggled with and what I've always struggled with is capital as an Amazon seller, of course. I've dealt with shitty credit cards. I've dealt with shark loans. That was a big lesson in 2023 is evil shark loans. And now, of course, I really want to figure out smart and proper business credit. Like, Amex, why don't you love me? Is really what I'm trying to figure out. I was like, please, I'm a friend. So I'm trying to get personal credit just absolutely spotless. It's already there. It just needs to update. And just consistently getting that level of scale to where, you know what, I can maintain 30K spend weeks without an issue. And I can continuously add and expand the category, my catalog, my brands, and know that, hey, I have the cash flow, the capital for it. So that's really what I'm working on right now. It's already underway. I just got to literally tell the team about it in terms of just an update and how we're spending and things like that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's like those higher level stuff. It's like, all right, team, we're no longer sourcing 30% ROI stuff. Now we're sourcing 60% ROI stuff. How are we going to do it? That's kind of what I like to figure out, and like adjusting the purchasing criteria to where it makes sense, where like the risk and reward is so outweighed in one direction that it's ridiculously profitable, but it's not such a strict criteria that we're not being able to buy anything. You feel me? So yeah, that much. Besides that, it's just finding new brands to expand. Yeah.
And on the training process, you're going to walk through that.
Got you. So in terms of like, this is just for product research. What we do is like we split it up. It's 90 days in terms of like when I'm hiring for myself. So the first 30 days, the target is 5 leads daily. We teach them all the fundamental sourcing strategies. We do daily calls, right? We'll review their leads and then we'll teach them the sourcing strategy for that week. There's 4 different sourcing strategies that I cover within my curriculum, within my business, and to students and stuff like that. So that was 4 weeks. We have a sourcing strategy each week. And then, we explain that on call. So, every single week, different sourcing strategy, first 30 days. Second 30 days, this target is now 7 leads daily. And we mix it because that's the game. You're not just reverse sourcing. You're not just doing storefront stocking. You got to learn how to go back and forth, right? So now we go through all those different things the entire time. Of course, we're breaking down product. Do they do product review? No, product review is taught separately. This is just sourcing. So yeah, we learn to mix different sourcing strategies, something I call sourcing relativity. Like if you find this one product that's profitable, it's likely have other adjacent profitable items. Like if you find a profitable black Nike shirt, the blue, pink, white are also profitable. The large, medium, small, XL are also likely profitable. That's where you should be looking first before you move on. So just those little things there. And then the third 30 days, 10 leads daily is the target. Do daily calls, but now the VA will lead the sourcing and the review. So they'll review their own leads, all that different stuff. But now we start including things like, here's how you track discount structures, right? Here's how you track sales, rewards, all those different things. You're not just sourcing. Now you're trying to figure out what's the best discount structure for this supplier, and you're jotting down data, right? I also like to have all my VAs request sales tax exemption and bulk discounting with new suppliers. Because when you find that one, they'd be like, hey, yo, how you doing? Right? We're down a deal. That's not an OA supplier no more. That's a wholesaler. You feel me? And just that just gives your VA wholesale tendencies. Like there was a point in time where one of my VAs, my first one, one I'd been with me the longest, she just started building out a wholesale department, which was kind of cool on her own. And it was pretty fun. Did decent. So yeah. Let me see. Yeah, the target there is sources should be able to find a new supplier, break down their discount structure, track according to their processes, find leads on demand, and extract all potential profitable leads within relativity. So yeah, that's the 90-day curriculum.
Man, that was in depth. This has been like a course, dude. I feel like people can watch this. This is like we don't talk about Amazon a lot on here, like this in depth. I don't know, when's the last time we even had one like this, John? Rick?
Maybe Duke.
Yeah, no, but Duke, we talk about like life stuff. So might have been like Rick, and we still are not getting into it. So this is good. This will be a refresher for the big Amazon sellers because, as you know, I don't sell anymore, so I don't talk about it as much. But I do like hearing about like the people that are high in the game. And how much revenue do you do a year with that like setup like that?
A year, last year we did 1.1. This year I'm looking to do around the same, just better margins, just way better margins. We're already on target for that, right? Because last year the main mistakes were due to margin. Like, okay, this isn't doing enough, so we'll tackle this. But if it was just doing better, then we wouldn't have even made that switch. But all right, let's actually expand on that. So last year around mid Q4, I decided to stop spending like on my FBA stuff and to just move all my inventory to my seasonal stuff, because my seasonal stuff was double the profit of my regular stuff. And it's like, okay, if you make sense, it's like, why would I buy this when I can just buy this? Opportunity cost. But now we have enough capital to where we can just do both, right? There's no reason to let go of our evergreen FBA catalog for our seasonal FBM catalog, because we can just tackle both in tandem. I can run the seasonal operation. The VAs are already killing it with the FBA operation. And the goal this year is to just run that same strategy without splitting things up. So that transition where it's like going from seasonal to FBA, from FBA to seasonal, was a mess last year because I got gated in my biggest seasonal brand. So halfway through the season, I'm like 40K deep in inventory. I get gated. So that causes a ton of different issues. So now that transition isn't as smooth anymore. So it's like, all right, what can we do to improve this? And that's kind of what we're working on this year. But yeah,
that's nice. What else you got, John?
So you mentioned a lot that you asked really good questions to the VAs in the interviews. Can you give us some examples of questions?
All right, give me 1 second. All right, you said what kind of questions?
Yeah, like what kind of questions do you ask them to kind of see what kind of character they have or what makes them a good fit?
Let me pull it up. I'll give you a few. All right. So this is, let me find my question. Responses. So you got to get the basics, right? You know, have you ever worked for an Amazon company? I mean, they all work into each other, right? So that's, for me, how many questions do I have total? I have 20 questions total, but the ones that are really heavy on character are, what kind of work did you do for your most recent? Nope. What caused you to separate? That's big. I want to say that probably drops off most people. It's kind of what caused you to separate from each Amazon company you have previously worked for. And really, it's not even the questions, now that I'm thinking about it. It's the answers. It's the way they answer the questions, right? So it's how they, my bad, bro.
Just mark that down. 42.
42.
My bad, bro. My bad.
We'll edit out.
Okay. So going with that, it's not really the questions, it's the way they answer the question. So this is a little bit more abstract, but there's a specific vibe to the characters you want to hire versus the characters because there's always tonality within it, right? You can tell what's been chat GPT'd. You can tell who didn't care when they submitted this. You can tell who put in real effort and is actually doing their absolute best to answer each question to the best of their abilities. You feel me? So the questions are there, and they're good questions in terms of like, what caused you to separate from each of your Amazon da-da-da-da-das, right? Please explain, like that's more technical here. There's also scenario questions. This is like basic stuff that you'll get from like a regular job application. It's like, this is pretty decent one. Read the scenario before answering. Your coworker asks you to help about an issue you don't have any experience in. What do you do? So that's like one of the character questions. And it's so easy to kind of, just give a little answer. But the people who really play it right, they all sound the same. You see what I'm saying? So once you have like 500 applications and you've analyzed them, you know what you're looking for to a certain degree. But yeah, that's what I would say. I'm like, the questions are the questions. Like the second one from that one is read a scenario before answering. Your daily task as an Amazon VA is to purchase profitable leads. After purchasing $1,500 of a product, you realize that you were buying the wrong style. What do you do? Right? And it just gives this little scenario. And because keep in mind, they probably have no idea what that even is, right? So they probably have to do some research to figure it out. They probably have to like try to tie as many things together. They have to ask their friends, hey, what is this guy talking about? Right? And it takes a bit of effort. Like I think the average time it takes to submit it is an hour. Like it takes an hour to finish the entire application.
Wow.
So it's that. And it's like, if you don't give above perfect answers, you're not even making it through. So yeah.
How'd you learn this stuff? This is like, I don't know. This is intriguing the way you do this thing. I haven't heard any of this stuff before. So what, did you learn this from a mentor or what?
Nah, I just did it.
That's always
I mean, it hasn't been like this since day one. It's just something I kept working on for sure.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, one thing, let's pivot a little bit. You came to my seminar, and I was wondering if you had any takeaways from that, that you could give the people, because we've talked a little bit about on there, but both you guys were there. I think John was there the whole time too, right? Yeah,
I was there the whole time.
So give what I like Amazon sauce, because I don't need to.
What I really liked from your seminar, and that's the number one reason I bought it, and you were like, "Yo, I'm giving away everything," and I'm like, "Okay, easy," because it's like, as Amazon sellers, what we're collecting is opportunities. We're collecting different opportunities to sell. So I haven't touched anything you've given me yet, but it's over there waiting on me, archived. And I know exactly where it is. And it's all the notes are just there in terms of everything you've covered. So we have been touching some of that funnel stuff. It's been nice.
Yeah. You like that one?
Yeah. We've been touching some. Yeah, of course. Because we were doing some of it before, but you already made it like a clear indicator. And we started just tackling it more, and it's just been nicer. But we collect opportunities. So I go out of my way to buy people's opportunities. I'm like, bro, what you got? What you selling? You feel me? What you got to offer? And it's like, even if it's nothing, you still keep it away there. Because now if you find something else that can build on top of that, you have one missing piece, then you found this new piece. Dang, you got something. You feel me? So, it was great. I want to say it was everything I, was looking for. And yeah, but for beginners, I was like, probably wouldn't be as helpful, because it's like, you don't know nothing, no way. Because it's like, if you get it, you're just going to look at it and be like, okay, what's this? But a beginner needs to learn what's sourcing, how to source, If you just give them opportunities, you're giving them like a gold nugget, but it still needs to be refined. And they don't understand the refinery process just yet. So besides that, no, it's perfect for me at least.
Cool. What else, John? What do you have to? You got any good questions?
No, I think that's a really good take on the seminar. And I think a lot of people, maybe if they were beginners, kind of went there hoping to get like ASINs or maybe something like
more. He dropped ASINs though, no?
Yeah.
He did. Yeah, he gave away his, but that's what they were looking for. Like, as you were saying, you're like, well, like there's a bunch of different tactics that we're going to implement, or the brands that he did drop, like, what to do with that. But the average person like takes the brands like, oh, like, I can't find anything profitable or something. But we know to like put that in Keepa, or we know like sales cycles, or where we get a coupon, or we just have all this information. And I think one of the hardest parts I think people have about this business is, you got to put in extra work. Like there's so many YouTube videos, and even if you buy a course and stuff like that, it's literally impossible to like spoon feed someone to success in this business. You have to take what you're given and take it the extra mile, put your own spin on it. I think that's where a lot of people get stuck and are just like, oh, like this is so hard. It's like, yeah, of course it's hard. Like, it's a business. And I think that's where a lot of people miss out. As you're excited, you're like, I can't wait to put this stuff. Like, I feel a lot of people be like, oh, it was a waste of money because I didn't use anything from it. You're like, oh man, I can't wait to use this stuff. Or maybe I implemented a little bit of this stuff now, and there's a whole bunch more stuff that I can implement. But I think it's having that mindset of like, yeah, this is awesome. I can't possibly implement 7 hours of all this stuff like right now, but that doesn't mean it's a waste of time. I have the notes and they're there for when I need them.
Yeah, I mean, agreed. I mean, but let me see, I was going to go somewhere with that. People drop like amazing notes. Like somebody dropped this tweet on Twitter, and two people, Arbitrage Ops and one other guy, they dropped like two different tweets. And Arbitrage Ops was just a strategy on something. And I looked at that, I'm like, okay, that's a 100K play right there. And it actually is. Like, it completely changes the way you fulfill inventory and do reconciliation. But if you don't understand it, you won't see it that way. I can't believe they gave that away for free. It was damn crazy. Like when they dropped it, I wrote like an entire analysis of how to play it out. And I'm trying to see if my prep center could work it out. Somebody else dropped just the brand. And when I saw it, I'm like, I can't believe he just dropped this. And that brand is probably going to be my biggest play this back to school season. So, I mean, I feel like that's kind of where I come from in terms of just like early childhood, because I was never the creative guy. You feel me? And I always played a lot of games. But if you was to give me something, I would figure out what it was and I would copy it to the T and then kind of figure out my own little play to it. So I think, I mean, that's kind of what the game is. I don't know. I just feel like the stuff he dropped, it was specific. Because if you're looking to expand, especially in different brands and categories, that should always be your goal. Then it was everything you could ever want as an Amazon seller. It was almost like a little Christmas box to a certain degree. Yeah. I really
That's
liked
good.
it.
Yeah, but my point was kind of throughout it was like, one, I want you guys to just get some inspiration for ideas, but you should like see the way I look at this stuff and like how these things, like somebody's like, can I see this specific time frame? And I'm like, it doesn't even matter. Like, you just see how I envision this entire business and how I source these products and like what I'm looking for. I think that was like what I was trying to deliver over 7 hours and be like cracked out of my mind. I think it delivered, but yeah, I'm glad you got some value from it because I haven't talked to many people about it. I mean, I had all those one-on-one calls, but I'm glad that you got some good value from it.
That was nice, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah, so you do some info stuff yourself. What do you do? What is your what's your like?
I do coaching.
Coaching.
So like coaching, curriculum, offer leads. I'm like, hey, this is what I'm selling here. You can sell it to, and just basically provide. That's only high ticket guys though, because you can't just give that stuff away for like $5 a month. I remember there was a tweet. The guy, God, my memory. It had the duck, the money duck.
Maybe.
Man, I can't. FFF, Flips for Fortune.
Yeah.
Flips for Fortune. So the people in Flips for Fortune were the guys who did. What was that? That game thing that helps you cheat?
Cronus Zen. I sold like
Cronus Zen. Jesus, brother. The Cronus Zens. And I read a tweet like 6 months ago. Someone was making fun of the guy. And he was like, yeah, man, you sold the program for $35 a month and you helped me make like $500K. He was like, thanks, bro. And he was just making fun of him. And I think it was a tweet of him saying, the top like original tweet was him saying he should have probably just kept it to himself. Because I know that guy made a shit ton of money. Like the dude who was like the owner made a shit ton of money with the Cronuses. But he gave it away in like the $35 a month, And it's not that he should have kept it to himself. He should have charged $3,500 a month was what he should have charged. It should have been high ticket. Because if you think about the value proposition, hey, you're going to make 10K, 20K, 30K a month. You should be paying X amount because that's going to just barrier the amount of people. So you don't have that guy, who only wants to pay you $5 every month in the program, getting the same sauce as a person who's willing to pay you $5K. So with that, it just made me focus more on coaching because one, I want to be able to give you as much value as possible. Like I want to be able to take you from that $4K a month to that $150K a month. And that's kind of what I want to do. I don't like having to gatekeep my stuff, right?
Mhm.
Or, not provide as much value as I can, because I feel like that's kind of gay. But I know not to waste my time with someone who's not even willing to invest $100. So it's just a game that you kind of have to figure out in terms of the value proposition and how much you charge.
Yep. And you get it all. Is it off Twitter, or do you do any Instagram, YouTube?
All off Twitter. I do a lot of Instagram right now, but them guys, I'm still trying to convince them that Amazon is a real thing that occurs. So we're still trying to get them guys to understand that Amazon is alive. You feel me? So we're kind of conspiracy theorists on Instagram, but I can just drop massive amounts of game on Twitter.
Yeah, dude, you should do a YouTube with these in-depth breakdowns you do, going into like all this stuff. I think that would be a huge key, because you can sit here, man, just turn that camera on and rant, bro. Like you might, even if you get 50 views, 80 views a video. I talk about this with John all the time. It's like the views don't even matter if your message is so dialed in that like every person watching that video is gonna be like a buyer, or they're gonna like love you, you know. So I think YouTube's huge, and it just all plays into it. It's way more trust factor. Like when people, they're going to trust you more if they can hear you and hear your tonality. I mean, it's the same stuff you talk about hiring, you know, it's like they can see your tweets, but it's just like words on a screen, which I see you do a lot of videos now, but just putting those on YouTube, man, throwing those things up. Yeah, that's huge, especially with just the way that you speak about all this stuff, I think.
I'm gonna most definitely work long form YouTube, and I want to kind of master Twitter first. But like Twitter's kind of gay right now, so I'm not gonna slow anything down to stay on Twitter per se. Because I was trying to do like 10 tweets a day, and that was killing me for a while. So now I'm like, all right, let's pull it out to like 5 tweets a day and just do like a YouTube video a week instead.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I feel like you could probably just scroll your Twitter feed and just turn those into YouTube videos.
There's a few different things. Yeah, there's a lot of topics. I mean, most of my content right now was just stuff that used to work back in the day. Just reformatted a little bit to appeal to guys who are reading it right now. Yeah.
Oh, John, you got anything else?
I don't think so. You want to leave some parting knowledge with the people? What would kind of be your advice to someone getting started or someone trying to grow their business? Amazon.
If you're getting started, easy mode is here. Like this is kind of what I've been preaching for the last few weeks, is that, man, it's damn going to be easy to just win over the next few months, because you have back to school, you have Halloween, then you have just the beautiful seasons that are going to pay everyone a ton of good money. Then it's going to get hard in January. And that's where you keep going, because that's where the skills are built, right? If you can run 100 miles per hour in our gravity, if the gravity becomes easier, you can run faster, because that's how physics work. You feel me? No, it's not. But you feel me? That's kind of where I'm going with it.
Yeah.
Is that how physics works?
Close enough.
No? You're probably
The
gonna
analogy
fly.
makes a lot of sense,
right?
The
analogy makes sense. We don't have to be physicians. I think that's what they do. Or those doctors. Either way, that's, you feel. You see what I'm saying? Basically. But yeah, the January through your June, like that hard time where it's like, you feel me? It's dry out here. You ain't eating good. That's what's gonna build everything. Because people are like, oh, what do I sell in Christmas? The same stuff you were selling throughout the rest of the year. You're just going to sell more of it in Christmas. You feel me? That's the game. And once you get good at that, if you can survive the first 6 months of the year, you're just going to thrive everything else. Right? So yeah, that'll be part of the message.
Sweet, man. Well, this was good. This is super informative for the Amazon people. I don't know. Yeah, like I said, we haven't had one that's this informative in a while. So plug anything you want.
Twitter, 7fig Saykho. Instagram, the same at 7fig Saykho. YouTube coming soon. Mr. Drew said hop on YouTube, so I shall hop on YouTube very, very soon. And at the same at 7fig Saykho.
All right.
Cool deal. Thanks for being here. Guys, like, subscribe, go check out his Twitter, Instagram, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Peace.
Peace.
Yes, sir. All right.